Welcome to your astrology forecast for September 2025, where we're going to be diving in today with your birth chart, mapping out where all the planets are going to be in the sky from the 1st till the 30th of September. So grab your birth chart, have it handy. Also, we are going to be diving into the Google Calendar. So if you would like to color code with us, we'll be going through all the astro weather events of the month ahead, what we can expect energetically, and what you may want to plan or definitely not plan during certain astrological weather events for the month of September. One reminder as well, make sure that you are listening for your primary life coach. So the planet that rules you based on your rising sign. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to pop up the chart right here for you to look at. Pay attention to that one specific planet. Of course, we're going to go through all the planets and all the transits, but the one you're going to want to pay attention to the most is your primary life coach. So grab your birth chart and your astrology alchemy journal, and of course your calendar, and let's dive in. Let's go ahead and get started. This is a map of the sky on the 1st of September. And there's a few things that we're going to notice this month. One, we are in eclipse season. So our full moon and our new moon this month are going to be eclipses. Remember that eclipse season is a time where things are a little bit more fated and destined. You have less free will. It's like getting on a roller coaster ride, and all you can do is throw your hands up in the air and wait for the ride to be over. Let the chips kind of fall where they may. And then at the end of eclipse season, moving into October, you're going to be able to kind of pick up those pieces, make sense of all of it, and then move forward in a new path. Now, eclipse season will impact you more if you are very far out of alignment of your soul's path. But if you are doing what you need to do, you've been following your astrology, you feel connected to your north node, you will notice that eclipse season may not be as challenging for you. Now, also at the end of the month, we are going to have a Grand Air Trine, which you're going to see here very shortly as we map it out on the chart. And that means that we are going to have 3 planets and all the air signs, all 3 air signs, and that is going to highlight what air energy represents, which is intense communication, conversation, connection, networking with others, exchanging ideas. So it'll be a very cerebral end of this month. So as we get started, I always like to start out with the sun. So if you have your birth chart handy, I'm going to tell you exactly where the planets are going to be so you can color code this on your chart. So kicking off the beginning of the month, we can see here that the sun is at 8 degrees of Virgo. And this month, the sun is going to travel from 8 degrees of Virgo all the way to 8 degrees of Libra. And so if you have any planets between 8 Virgo and 7 Libra, the sun is going to cross over that point in your birth chart. The first thing to note is where the sun is in your chart, whatever house it rules, that is going to be the area of life in that current cycle and the current sun season that you are going to need a spotlight upon. It is going to highlight, is going to illuminate that area of your life. So the Virgo area of your life is going to be highlighted until the sun transits into the Leo area of your birth chart, which is going to happen on September 22nd at 2:19 p.m. That is going to be when you shift this month to focus your energy and attention into the Leo area of your life based on where that falls in your birth chart. Now, I use whole sign systems. I tend to find that not only is this the simplest way to understand astrology, especially if you're a beginner, but it tends to be the most accurate in what I see when I am doing readings. So if you don't use whole sign systems, you can follow this just as well with any other of the house systems, like Placidus, for example. Okay, so that is going to be the sun this month. Now, we are going to have those 2 lunations, so let's talk about it. The first one is going to be the full moon in Pisces. That is going to be an eclipse. That full moon is going to happen at 15 degrees of Pisces, meaning the sun is going to hit 15 degrees of Virgo, and the moon is going to get in position and be at 15 degrees of Pisces. So if you have any planets in that area of the sky of Pisces or Virgo in those middle degrees, it is going to be activated by the eclipse. You can think of the eclipse as a new moon or a full moon on steroids, 10x potency. And so the orb of influence gets a little bit wider. So if you have any planets between 10 and 20 degrees of Pisces or Virgo, you are going to feel the impact of this eclipse a little heavier. And of course, no matter what, for all of us, you're going to feel the impact of the eclipses in the Pisces and the Virgo areas of your chart. Now, this is the area of the sky where we've already had the South Node and the North Node transiting. So this has been going on since January 11th. We had the eclipse season back in the spring, and now we are going to circle back for round 2 of this eclipse season. So you may see some themes come back around that were activated in your life in the spring, and now it's time for you to implement or do something different as the eclipses highlight again the changes you need to make. Now, with that, we are going to 2 weeks later have the new moon in Virgo, and that new moon in Virgo is going to happen on September 21st at 29 degrees of Virgo, the anaretic degree, the most potent degree, the 29 degree mark. So that means not only is this the second new moon in Virgo, because remember back in August on the 23rd, we already had a new moon here. We're going to have a second new moon at a potent degree. This means that there is a second opportunity for you to course correct, adjust, or add something new energetically into the Virgo area of your life that may be eclipsed out or removed or highlighted for you to get rid of around the full moon that happened at the beginning of the month. So this Virgo area of your chart is very potent and very activated this month. So pay attention to that. And again, if you have any planets near the end degrees of Virgo, it's going to be activated at that solar eclipse on the 21st. Now, moving on to Mercury. So Mercury is the messenger. It's our mind. And wherever Mercury falls for us at any given time is where our mind needs to be focused on and how we are processing, how we are communicating, how we are thinking. And so Mercury kicks off the month, September 1st, in the zodiac energy of Leo. And this means for the last almost 6 weeks with Mercury's retrograde, we have been thinking a lot in a Leo fashion, more dramatic, roaring a little, asking for our needs to be met, maybe a very creative way of expressing ourselves. Maybe you've been more focused on creative projects. Maybe you've been more interested in having fun and joy and pleasure. And so now, as we kick off the month, we have the final few days of Mercury and Leo. The retrograde energy is over. And then we are going to have Mercury move into Virgo, his home sign, on September 2nd. And he is going to move this month from 27 degrees of Leo all the way to 19 degrees of Libra. So he is making moves. He is going from Leo all the way through Virgo into Libra to the 19-degree mark. So let me just redraw that so you can kind of see all the way to 19 degrees. That's a big pass through. 3 zodiac signs for Mercury this month. He's going to enter into Virgo, like I said, on September 2nd. And then he is going to enter into Libra towards the end of the month on, let me give you that date, September 18th. And so you're going to have your mind this month mostly in the Virgo area of your life, where the sun is, where the eclipse is going to be, where there's a lot of activation. So wherever Mercury lands in your chart in Virgo this month is going to be where you need a lot of mental attention, where you're going to be communicating a lot. And then when we get to the end of the month, like I said, on the 18th, Mercury is going to be in the Libra area of your chart to wrap up the month. Then after that, let's talk about Venus. So Venus is going to be this month starting out in the zodiac energy of Leo as well. We see her down here in Leo, and she is going to be moving from 7 degrees of Leo. And this is Venus in a Leo energy where it's like we are in our royal, regal energy. We are dressing to impress. We're being a little dramatic with our fashion sense. We want to have romantic date nights. There kind of is like this queen energy about Venus in Leo. And she is going to move this month from 7 degrees of Leo all the way to 17 degrees of Virgo. So she's on the move this month. So if you are a Libra or a Taurus rising, Venus is your primary life coach, your main planet to pay attention to. That means you are going to feel the energetic shift the most when Venus moves from Leo into Virgo. Venus is what we love. It's what we prioritize, what we value, what we find beautiful. In Leo, it's dramatics, it's fashion, it's Hollywood, it's art, it's romance, it's dating, it's creativity, it's self-expression. And then when she moves into Virgo, it's like we value cleanliness, organization, stability, things that make sense, efficiency. It's a more grounded, practical, earthy Virgo energy than it is the dramatic queen energy. And we're going to see that shift happen on September 19th. The fall equinox happens when the sun leaves Virgo and enters into Libra on September 22nd, the day before we're going to have the eclipse. Right before that, we're going to have Venus move into Virgo. And right before that, we're going to have Mercury move into Libra. So there is a lot of transition going on right there around the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd of September. So you'll see when we get to the calendar, it's a very potent week for us. So if you have any planets between 7 degrees of Leo and 17 degrees of Virgo, Venus is going to cross over that area in your birth chart this month. Now, switching gears, talking about Mars. So, my Aries and my Scorpio risings, listen up. Mars is beginning this month, September 1st, at 16 degrees of Libra. And he is going to move from 16 degrees of Libra to 5 degrees of Scorpio, which essentially means that Mars is finally entering his home sign. He has not been in Scorpio in 2 years. That is where we're going to feel the transition. We're going to feel the shift. We're going to have more stamina, more energy, more vitality. Right now, Mars is in Libra, and that forces us to slow down, to balance our energy, to invest our time in partnerships and collaborations and relationships and other people. But when Mars gets into Scorpio on September 22nd, again, right around that fall equinox when all the other planets are shifting, we are going to feel a total different energy. Mars is our chi, Mars is our masculine, Mars is our vitality. When he gets into Scorpio, it is stamina, it is going the long haul, it is investigating, it is getting to the bottom of things. There is a lot of strength and force and power in this energy. Now, something we need to be mindful of is when Mars moves into Scorpio and he hits that 1 degrees of Scorpio, he is going to square off with Pluto, who is over here in Aquarius. So we are going to have end of the month here, a building square Mars square Pluto. It's a little intimidating, a little nerve-wracking. We know that these are the planets that can kind of blow things up. It can be a little explosive. It can be a little volatile. So that's something we want to be mindful of. And again, it's right around the ecliptic energy. So we'll talk more about that when we get to the calendar and we're going through all the transits. Now let's talk about Jupiter. We love Jupiter. Jupiter brings blessings. Jupiter brings opportunity, abundance, luck, expansion, growth. He has been parking right here in the Cancer area of our chart since June. He is making his moves. He's all the way to 17 degrees of Cancer, and then he is going to move to 22 degrees of Cancer by the end of the month. So just a few degrees, but if you have any planets between 17 and 22 degrees of Cancer, you're going to have that activation of Jupiter bringing blessing, bringing prosperity, bringing opportunity to that particular aspect of yourself. But no matter what, for all of us, the Cancer area of your life is still on the up and up. But do remember, when we get to November 11th, Jupiter is going to retrograde and all that luck and opportunity is going to dry up. So enjoy it for September, enjoy it for October, and then all of that is going to turn around. So what I've been telling people is any kind of goodness, abundance, opportunities, anything that's coming into your life in the Cancer area, maybe start a note section. If you can't get to it right away, there's an opportunity to reach out to someone. There's a potential client. You learned about a renovation project. If it's in your area of home and family, you found something on Pinterest, you found something on TikTok that you want to do, put it in your notes section, because then when the opportunities dry up with his retrograde in November, you're going to be able to circle back because he's already given you the gifts, he's already given you the information, he's already given you the opportunities. You just got to circle back and fulfill them. So something to be mindful of with Jupiter. Now, let's move on to Saturn, our tough love dad, Saturn. He has been hammering us with lessons in the Aries area of our life. On the 1st of September, overnight, moving in to the beginning of the month, he is going back into Pisces. And this month, Saturn is going to go from 0 degrees of Aries, that cardinal point, the world access point where everything begins. Remember, everything begins at 0 Aries, everything ends at 29 Pisces. So for the first week of September, we're going to have Saturn moving through the karmic reset point and clearing karma, asking us to go back things, wrap things up, let things go, release, cry it out, shed, all of that as Saturn moves on his way this month back to 27 degrees of Pisces. So if you have any planets 27, 28, 29, or 0 Aries, you are going to feel Saturn crossing back and reactivating that area of your life. Important to understand because Saturn is retrograde and he is going to cross all of these areas of your life one more final time as we move into 2026. So big thing to kind of take note of what is Saturn trying to teach you, what obstacles are coming your way, what lessons are, really hard right now, where are you being called to have more commitment, discipline, structure in your life. And then if you're in the Astro Weather Report with us over on Telegram, we are officially wrapping up and completing our Saturn 99-day challenge, where we focus on this Aries area of our chart where Saturn has been since May 23rd for a performance review. And we work together as an Astro family to look at and see what are the things that we need to commit to? What are the things that we can make stronger? Where can we make Saturn proud, our tough love dad? So when he comes back for 3 years in February of next year, we're ready. We've done the work and the lessons don't have to be as karmically challenging and we can maybe get some rewards. So we are wrapping up with that energy now with Saturn moving back into Pisces. Now, moving over into a different direction, let's talk about Uranus. Uranus blows things up and he's over here just shaking up the Gemini area of our life. He is officially going retrograde this month. So he is parked right now at 1 degrees of Gemini. He's been hanging out here for the last couple of weeks. And so he is going to activate his retrograde on the 6th of September, right at the beginning of the month. And as Uranus goes retrograde, he's actually moving back into that Taurus area of our life, which has been very unsettling, destabilizing, has been shaken up just when we think we're on solid ground again, shaking it up for the last 7 years since 2019. There is something left unfinished here. There's something that still needs to be removed, shaken up, changed in that Taurus area of your life. And Uranus is on his way back. However, he is not going into that area of our life yet because this month he's pretty much hanging out at 1 degrees of Gemini for the entire month of September. But he will be actively retrograde as of the 6th. And so again, if you have your astrology alchemy journal, you're going to want to go ahead and open it up to the Uranus retrograde page, which is going to be on page, let me pull it up for you here. On page 73 and 74, make sure you fill out your journal prompts on here, take note, take inventory. You're going to want to circle back to those exact same journal prompts halfway through the retrograde, which is going to be on November 21st, and then fill out those same journal prompts a third and final time when the retrograde ends, which happens on February 4th of next year. So you can reflect back and see the lessons that Uranus has taught you during his retrograde and what has kind of come up since then. So that is the whole purpose of my astrology alchemy journal, is to use this as a documentary of what is going on in your life during the astrological weather events, with the journal prompts in here to inspire you. And then you can go back and reflect, as a lot of these cycles repeat themselves. Because Uranus is retrograde, he's going to come right back to 1 degrees of Gemini next year in May. And you're going to be able to reflect back and be like, oh, what was going on when he retrograded at 1 degrees of Gemini? Oh, let me go back to my journal. That's what was going on. That's the intention behind it all. Okay, so with all that, let's move on to Neptune. Neptune, it's so interesting as an astrologer for like a decade now. Neptune doesn't get a whole lot of attention. He's been in Pisces for 13 years. So it's like, okay, now finally we're talking about Neptune left and right every month in 2025. So Neptune is over here next to Saturn. They've been hanging out side by side together since May, when Saturn entered into Aries with Neptune. Saturn this month is breaking away, going back to Pisces. He's like, hey, I'm going back to where we just were together for the last 3 years. I'm going to start making sure that area is strong, throw final lessons, bring more obstacles. And then Neptune is like, I'll meet you back there, but I'm going to hang out here in Aries alone for a little bit longer. And so this month, Neptune is going to be in Aries from 1 degrees, retrograding back to 0 degrees and 34 minutes. So he's going to be right back at almost that karmic reset point. Next month in October, we're going to see him hit that 29 Pisces, that really, pivotal point of karma clearing. So I think a lot of things that are still kind of hanging on by a thread in our life, and we're like, God, I just want to cut that cord. I just want to wrap that up. I just want to move on and move past. We're going to get that reset in the next few months. So Neptune will be hanging out here in the Aries area of your life alone and solo for a minute. This is the area of the sky that he was back in April. Okay. So kind of think back of what was going on in April. Those things may circle back a little bit. Now we're going to talk about Pluto very briefly. I know over here I kind of covered him up, but Pluto is hanging out over here in Aquarius, doing what he's doing. He's been, doing his thing. He's at 1 degrees and he's retrograding back. So this month, he's pretty much at 1 degrees of Aquarius the entire month. And so as we're gearing up for Scorpio season, where Mars is going to come into Scorpio, the sun will come into Scorpio, Mercury will come into Scorpio, Venus will come into Scorpio, in the next few months, they're all going to square off with Pluto. And so Pluto brings the power, brings the unearthing, brings the force, brings the transformation, brings the necessary energy to reveal things, to destroy things, so that we can move on and rebuild and regrow beautiful, beautiful things. But that comes with that destructive energy. So just now we're going to have some of those activations, and starting out with Mars, where it's like that fiery warrior energy. And lastly, kind of talking about the eclipses here, we kind of highlighted this already. We have the North and the South node, which are activated during the full moon and the new moon this month, as it is eclipse season. They are moving from 18 degrees of Virgo and Pisces to 18 degrees of Virgo and Pisces. They don't move a whole lot this month. So if you have any planets at 18 degrees of either one of those signs, or 18 degrees of Sagittarius or Gemini in that square, you will definitely be feeling this energy pretty potently. So that is what's going on this month. We also do down here have Chiron. I like to highlight Chiron a little bit because he's also in Aries. So we've had 3 planets last month Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron all retrograding in that Aries area of your life. And Chiron this month is going from 26 degrees to 25 degrees of Aries. So just take note, if you have anything in that area of your chart, you're going to have Chiron's activation there. So lots going on this month. I hope this was helpful. Map it out on your birth chart. If any of the planets in September are going to be crossing over a planet in your chart, an aspect in your chart, they're visiting a certain area of your life in your birth chart, a certain house, you may want to take note of when that's happening. You may want to recognize, oh, this is the lesson. These are the cycles. This is what I'm supposed to be learning. And if you need more help breaking that down and understanding it, that's why I do my mini sessions where we hop on the phone for 30 minutes and we kind of strategically map out your month. Maybe you have some big decisions to make this month. You got to move. You're launching something for your career. You want to propose to someone. That is going to be really great for you to look at the month ahead and be very strategic with your time and your energy so you can ride the cosmic waves into the direction that you're going, and you can avoid the things that are going to be a little chaotic and unnecessary because you know what to anticipate and expect. So with that, we're going to switch over to the Google Calendar view. And if you haven't done this with us before, you can go ahead and grab your own calendar. You can pull up your Google Calendar. You can follow along color code with us. I am a Virgo, so I love to color code and make more sense of it using the color system. So this is an example from last month. Last month, you can see we had a lot of orange aspects. We had a lot of things going on that were like beware energies. We've got our purple days. These purple days are when we have a planet transiting from one zodiac sign to another. So we know that different areas of our chart are being impacted. We've got the pink days, which are my favorite days. Those are lucky days, lovely days, romantic days. We just love the pink days. And then we have the green days, which are opportunity days, that are lucky days, days that you want to tap in and good things can happen. We've got the dark blue, which is going to symbolize all retrograde activities. So when retrogrades begin, when retrogrades end, pre-shadow, post-shadow, all of that. And then, of course, we have our red days. So last month we had 2 crazy red days on the 8th and the 24th. So we marked that as like, eek, beware, not good, careful energy. We have the yellow, which is going to be the sun and the moon. So the new moons, the full moons, and the day that the sun transits into a new zodiac sign. And then lastly, we've got this teal color, which is the default setting. And that is like when I'm like, I don't know how I'm feeling about this. It's just an astro weather event. I guess we just need to note it and see what happens. So let's get into September. We're going to fill this out together. I'll walk through kind of what I'm seeing. You can map it out, and then hopefully it'll help you kind of be strategic with your month ahead. So kicking off the month on September 1st, we have Saturn entering his retrograde. He is entering his retrograde into Pisces specifically. He's already been retrograde for a while, but now he's moving back into Pisces officially. And so he is going to be retrograding for the entire month. We're going to feel the shift in the Pisces area of our chart. We're going to need to go back over all the things, all the themes that has been needing our attention since March of 2023. We can make a whole separate video on this. If you're into astrology, you've already heard about this. We'll talk so much more in the astro weather as this shift is happening. On the 2nd, we have Mercury entering into Virgo, his home sign. Love this. Love this for mental cognition, mental clarity, organization, strategy, efficiency, streamlining things. It's like all of a sudden our mind comes online and we're like, we can think better. We're way more effective at what we do. And so you're going to feel this shift. And obviously the Virgo area of your chart is going to need most of your mental load in this time. Then right away, as soon as Mercury moves into Virgo, on the day after, on September 3rd, he is going to square Uranus. They're both going to be at 1 degrees of Virgo and Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so Mercury is the power player here. And Uranus brings disruption, but he also brings insights, inspiration. It's that left field energy. And so I feel like this is a very lucky aspect. This is something that if we tap into, we can have insights, downloads, breakthroughs. Great for collaboration, great for solving problems, great for learning something, as Virgo loves to learn and Virgo loves to get things done. And Gemini is curious and exploring. So sign up for a course. You never know what you might learn. Go to a networking meeting. You never know who you might meet. Tackle some of that mental stuff that you need to do. You might find an easier way to do it. So I really love that day for a mental day. And at the same time that is going on, we also have Jupiter in a trine to the North Node. So we love that energy. And this is going to happen at 18 degrees because Jupiter brings abundance and blessing and growth. And the North Node draws us towards the things that are meant for us. And that North Node is in Pisces, also ruled by Jupiter. And so there is this opportunity of flow, of abundance, of luckiness, of fated things just happening. Money just lands in your pocket. You meet someone that feels very fated and destined. Like it opens doors, it opens new pathways. So I think it could be a very spiritual experience and something that is absolutely beautiful. So I love that third day of the month. On the 4th, we're going to have Mars square Jupiter. So this is kind of like activating that North Node with Jupiter, but then Mars comes in and Mars is like, we got to make moves. We got to make a decision, right? We have this new thing that's coming in, this opportunity, this growth, but we can't just let it pass by. We have to Mars act on it. We got to do something about it, right? And so I think this is an orange day for us. Not that it's going to be bad, but it's something we want to be really mindful of because this could help you take those steps forward. But we could also see some fights on a larger scale. We could see people overdoing things, like Mars can kind of get ahead of himself, and Jupiter blows things out of proportion. So we could have fights blown out of proportion, us overcommitting to people, overcommitting to things in our relationships. So everything can be a little heightened and intense with this Mars Jupiterian energy. But it's a decision that has to be made and a progress that we have to move forward with. Then we get to the 6th. On the 6th, that is when Uranus is officially going retrograde. He is going to be retrograding in Gemini this month and then going back into Taurus next month. So this is going to be our retrograde energy with him. When we have a Uranus retrograde day where he's starting to turn his energy, it can be very volatile. We can see very life-changing things happen. We can see things like rebellious energy. We can see the earth awakening, natural disasters, grids and electricity, and those kind of things going down. So we do want to be very careful on this day, on Saturday the 6th, with anything transportation, technology, social media, computers, anything like that. Just be kind of cautious, especially if you're on the road. And that's obviously going to be way more important because the next day we're going to have that full moon lunar eclipse. And that is going to be very potent for us. Now, it is not the worst eclipse that we're going to have this year. It actually seems to be one of the most easiest. And it's going to be happening at 15 degrees of Pisces. So that ecliptic energy can already be felt. Sometimes we feel eclipses start to pile on 2 weeks before to 2 weeks after. Jupiter is the ruler here. He's still going to kind of be in that fight and that square with Mars. But I really do think here that this is an opportunity for us to kind of release things, emotions, to do some spiritual healing, for us to let go with peace. There might be, again, this Uranus sudden jolting unexpected thing that happens. And we're like, let go, right? Surrender. It's in Pisces. Let live, let be, like just move on, right? And their karmic cycles could really be ending at this time and emotions could really be releasing. So this is going to be a very interesting first weekend of September. But then we have a couple days off to integrate, thank heavens, because on September 10th, we're going to have the sun conjunct the south node in Virgo, and therefore it is going to be opposite the north node in Pisces. So we're going to have that official sun activation of the nodes of karma, the nodes of destiny. And so that will be at 18 degrees of those respected signs. Now, I'm debating between pink and green on this one, okay? I do love some dust and fated things happening. It's like hands off the wheel, just whatever's meant to happen, let it happen. I totally surrender. But then also there's this opportunity of like, it feels lucky. It feels like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden this thing is working out for me. I'm not having to try so hard. Oh my gosh, this thing I've been wanting to let go of, it's just being taken away from me. I guess it was that easy and that simple. So you do want to be cautious and careful with this energy though, because it can really deal with our health, our spiritual, energetic, emotional, and physical health. And you could also kind of be feeling like things are being stripped away in this week with the eclipse, where it's like, I'm not ready to let it go. Even though I want to let it go, I'm not ready to let it go. So just be mindful. This is very much a week of ending patterns and letting it go, but it can also feel really good at the same time. The following day, Mercury is going to catch up with the sun, and he's going to do the same thing. He is going to conjunct the south node and oppose the north node. And so this is now where our mind is like wrapping our head around, like, what is going on? We're like, oh my gosh, okay, I guess I'm letting this go. I guess now there's space. I'm cool with it. I've been wanting this. Like, we're catching up, the data, the mind, we're having conversations, we're analyzing things, we're making sense of things. And so it's like the sun is heating it up and making it happen. And then Mercury is like, all right, I'm here. How do we smooth this over? How do we make sense of it? So it's such a like piggyback off of each other energy. And then literally while this is going on, obviously the sun and Mercury are coming closer and closer together. And on the 13th, we're going to have the official sun Mercury Cazimi. So they are like literally fusing next to each other for this entire week. And this is going to be an energy where I think it's going to be so good. It's going to be such a blessed opportunity. And I'm going to make it pink because this is where we get insights, we get understanding, we get awareness. All this change starts to make sense. All of this starts to actually feel good. It's almost like our inner self, our core, and our mind are aligned. And we're like, all right, well, I guess I can't get that back. It's gone. I can't go dumpster diving for it, or I can't repair that relationship. I already said I wanted it to end, or I already put in my resignation. Now I come to peace with it. Now I'm like, I can think clear. I can move ahead. I can move on to the next thing. But in between that, on the 12th, Mercury and the sun, even though they're coming closer together and they're conjuncting the north and the south node, they're also going to sextile Jupiter. So we're going to have the sun sextile Jupiter. And we love that because Jupiter brings blessing and opportunity and abundance and growth and all the good, juicy stuff. And obviously Mercury is going to do the same thing because he is hanging out with the sun. So what a like double, triple whammy energy of like north node, destiny, south node, get rid of it. It doesn't serve you anymore. Jupiter, expand it, blow it up, make opportunities happen, doors open, mind. All of a sudden I'm thinking and I'm understanding, and my sun, my like shine, my preferences, like, whew, what a freaking a week, you guys. Like, we're going to be making things better. There's opportunities for creative outlets, great success, insights, bonding with others. Such a potent energy. We're going to like see things moving and shifting. But I think this first week is going to throw us for a loop. And then we're like, ooh, this is what it was all for. Ooh, I can integrate now. And then we have on the 15th, Venus is going to sextile Mars. So the lovers of the zodiac come together. They're having some sexy time. This is going to happen at 25 degrees of Leo to 25 degrees of Libra. So a fire, air trine, or fire, air sextile. Love that. That is potent. We're going to definitely put this as pink. So, do you guys love this? What a difference from last month, right? This is like putting your difference aside. This is opportunities of the feminine and the masculine, the attraction and the doing, partnership energy. Great, great day for date night. I would honestly say the second weekend is going to be so great for like going out, meeting new people, going on a romantic date, spending time with people you love, getting together with teams, strategy sessions. Like, this is just going to be such an abundant and expansion time. But I would definitely put the 15th on your calendar for a date night. Good energy for a proposal, good energy for solidifying a relationship, asking someone to date you, asking someone to be your business partner, asking someone to collaborate with you, asking for what you need, essentially, because Venus in Leo is like roaring and saying, here I am, I'm so talented, don't you want me? And Mars in Libra is like, I want partnership, I want collaboration, I want to make things better. So it is a beautiful energy. Now, however, right after that, on the 16th and 17th, we're going to have Venus trine Chiron. So Chiron kind of wants to get in this lovey-dovey mix, this romantic mix, this partnership mix, this connection mix. And this is like Chiron coming up and saying, hey, hold on, there could be a wound, there could be something upsetting. We need to nip this in the bud. Yes, this sounds dreamy, and yes, this is going to be amazing, and yes, this partnership is aligned, but let's talk about the things that are kind of going to irritate us. Let's talk about the things that we can heal now so there is no dilemma down the road. And therefore, Mars, right at the same time, the next day, is going to oppose Chiron. And that can bring like action, decisions, irritation. It's like you say yes to this partnership, and then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, but I really can't stand how they talk to me. I guess we should probably put that out on the table. We should create some boundaries. We should talk about it. Or I should tell them what I need. Or maybe you go out on a date night and you have such a great time. And then like at the end of the day, they like don't text you that they made it home safe, or they don't check in on you. And it's like, oh, that's kind of upsetting. So we have to talk about it. We have to say, hey, I would appreciate, what I need is for you to call me and speaking up for your needs in this new partnership so that I can continue to be blessed and abundant and expansive. So anything that begins new in relationships, whether that's business or romantic, you've got to have those hard talks right away in this week. Otherwise, it could bring up the triggers and be kind of upsetting. So definitely want to pay attention to what's kind of coming up at this time, but I do think it could be very favorable if it's addressed right off the bat. Now, on the 17th as well, Mercury is going to oppose Saturn. I'm not digging it. I'm not digging it at all because Mercury's in his home sign of Virgo and Saturn is back in Pisces, retrograde. Saturn is always going to oppose things. Mercury is the communication and conversation. So it's like people are telling you no, you're having a hard time concentrating, you're trying to find answers, you're trying to solve problems, things just aren't working, challenges and obstacles to your mind and communication, emails aren't going through, there's a mix up on a contract. It's just not a good day for any kind of like buying, selling, signing contracts, mercurial things. I would even say not even good, like mentally. I would take this day off, honestly. And then on the 18th, we've got a mindset shift. Mercury then moves into Libra. So now this goes from like thinking very strategic, more grounded, more practical. We're trying to be more logical, make sense of things. We now go into a mindset shift of like, how do we make this more beautiful and pleasurable and enjoyable? How do we make this more fair? How do we make this more just? How do we make it a win-win for everyone involved? And so it's a more diplomatic thinking. It's a more strategic thinking as far as like asking for opinions, finding compromises, negotiating things. So I think we're going to have a really interesting rest of the month with Mercury and Libra, and figuring out, how to have more pleasurable conversations and what in our life needs more attention, so that we can have more harmonious communication, harmonious conversations with others. And then right off the bat, as Mercury moves into Libra, he is going to oppose Neptune. And so with that, there can be this instant kind of feeling of like confusion, not quite understanding what's going on. Things can be kind of unclear, a little foggy, but also really great for creative inspiration. A day where you can kind of just get lost in the thoughts, go into like a meditative state. But we just want to be really careful that people are like maybe trying to like get one over on you. They might be trying to deceive you. And as we kind of see this unfold, it could be back to the partnership that felt really aligned and really exciting. And it's like all of a sudden, like this trigger comes up and we feel like we can't trust them. And maybe they're not telling us the whole truth and people are being smooth talkers. And there's like an error in the document. Again, Mercury opposite Saturn. So maybe there's like an error in the document. And now people aren't really giving you a straight answer of what happened or how it's going to get fixed. So there's a very mental thing kind of going on here, based on the partnership stuff that maybe started or the financial stuff that was started at the beginning of the week. So just be mindful of this week for sure. And then Mercury, obviously, is going to then trine Uranus because he's at 1 degree of Libra by the next day. Uranus is at 1 degree of Gemini. And so this is going to create that air trine energy. And so this is all of a sudden, all that stress, all that stuff that was going on, it's like, oh, here's the breakthrough. Here's the solution. Oh my God, why didn't we think of this? All of a sudden, it's like, oh, let's get together. Let's find a solution. It's very like crazy genius energy. There might be an unconventional solution. There might be, oh, let's try this. We've never tried this. Let's do that. So it could be very like mentally exciting. People could be very chatty on this day. They could be telling you all sorts of things. We could have tech glitches or travel disruptions, but if they are, they're kind of like in your favor because this is a trine. So just kind of be aware of that. And at the same time this is going on, then Mercury is going to be opposite Pluto. And we know that Pluto wants us to dig deeper, wants us to talk about our fears, our vulnerabilities, our secrets, have hard conversation, dig those skeletons out of the closet. So again, I think there's going to be opportunity for those breakthroughs because people are just having to be honest and they're having to like just say it as it is. And then of course, that leads to the breakthrough, Uranus breakdown to breakthrough. It's very mercurial towards the end of this week. And then also on that day, Venus is going to enter into Virgo. So we get a whole vibe shift, right? Venus is what we love, what we find beautiful, what we find pleasurable. We've been feeling at the beginning of this month that the romance, the drama, the creativity, the fashion, like all the arts, like all that, like, oh, love it. But then when Venus gets into Virgo again, we're anchoring down into the earth. We're loving our bodies. We're taking slower time. We're being more strategic. We love organized environments. We love cleanliness. We love hygiene. It's just going to be no more dreaming or planning. It's like, let's get to work to make our life more beautiful. Let's do the things we need to do. Let's make order out of chaos. Like that feels really good. So we're going to see kind of that shift happen. And then also on that day, we're going to have Uranus trine Pluto. Now, this is not exact. This is as close as they're going to be until next year. But it is something to recognize that will be playing off in the background. I'm just going to leave this neutral because this can go in so many different directions. And I think once we get through that first eclipse and we see what's going on here, we're going to be able to make a lot more sense of how this is actually going to play out in our lives and in a collective. So we're going to put a pin in that and we will circle back in the Astro family. Of course, we're breaking down these astro weather events every single day with a voice memo for you guys so you can keep on track and know what's going on when you actually need to know each and every day. Then we end this week with Venus in a square to Uranus. So do you see where we're going this week? Do you see what's happening here? We literally went from this romantic, dreamy, unbelievable Mars sextile Venus. Things are good. I'm getting into a partnership. I'm building an alliance. I went on a date night. I met a new person. Amazing. Oh, there's a little trigger. There's something that's bothering me. Let's talk about it. Okay, we talked about it. All is well. Okay, now we have this mental thing that came up. We need to have a tough conversation. They're telling me no. They don't want to move in with me. They don't want to sacrifice. They don't want to be committed in this way. They have this boundary that I don't like. Okay, well, maybe they're not telling the whole truth. Maybe they're trying to deceive me. Maybe they're just trying to smooth talk me. I don't know what the truth is anymore. I don't even know what to believe. Then we've got to have that deeper conversation with Pluto. All right, let's dig deep. What are you afraid of? Why don't you want me to move in? Why don't you want to have this partnership? Do you not trust me? What are your vulnerabilities? What are your fears? Okay, that makes sense. Sudden insight, sudden breakthrough. Okay, cool. Now that I understand that, why don't we do this unconventionally? Instead of us moving in together, why don't we get apartments next to each other? Instead of forming this business alliance and having 50-50, let's do 100% commission based on who brings what client in. Like, you come up with a new plan, a new roadmap for this relationship, for this partnership, but you had to go through the sticky icky. And then all of a sudden at the end of the week, that relationship gets squared by Uranus. And it's like, oh my God, we're doing it differently. We're going to rebel. We're going to be unconventional. We're going to forge our own path. We're going to do this in a way that works for us. And there could be all of a sudden an unexpected person that comes into your life, or it could be an unexpected relationship that gets shifted or changed. It's like very mental and relational for this entire week. This could also be financial. So everything I just said with the relationship example, we could say the same thing with finances. There could be people financially either deceiving you. There could be money issues, contract issues coming up. Then you have to dig down and figure out what's not being said, what's the fine print, and then kind of having this recognition of like, oh, this isn't going to work for me, or maybe I'm going to try something different. I'm going to go buy it at a different store. I'm going to have them write up a different contract, like it's just a very interesting week. Let's just say that. And then literally while all of that is going on and all of this is building up, we build up to the next eclipse, which is the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees. Again, that very, very potent anaretic degree, the second new moon in the Virgo area of your life. And boom, that eclipse happens. And that fated, destined new beginning comes in. That Virgo energy. And remember, Virgo is all about our physical well-being, our overall routines, what is working for us, what is not working, what is efficient, what is not efficient, what is structured, what is not going to be of benefit to you. There's like, is this efficient? Is it effective? Is it useful? If it's not, okay, let's clear the runway so we can have new things. It's gonna be a very interesting eclipse. Let's just say that. And then on the 22nd, Mars moves into Scorpio. Ooh, things get dark, things get deep. Our stamina, our chi, our energy, our passion, our drive, all of that starts ramping up. Thank gosh, because we literally have to deal with all of this. So thank gosh, Mars is like, all right, let me get into power position, full drive, full stamina. Let's get at it. It can be a very vengeful energy. Just be aware, it can be vengeful. But I think this is going to be our saving grace, because it's like, oh my God, all this happened. I'm going to need a hell of a lot of gas in my gas tank to get this all cleared up and figure this all out. And literally while that's happening at the same time, the sun is going to move into Libra, which just activates not only the Libra area of our own birth chart, but it activates all of us energetically to be more focused in relationships, partnerships, negotiating things, fairness and compromise, doing the right thing. I call Libra sun season, soulmate season. I just love it. I think people get together at this time. They get married at this time. They last a very long time. So I love some Libra sun season, and we'll dive more into that in the Astro family. But this is also the fall equinox. So when we look at the fall equinox, how we are ending the summer, this is the final energy of the summer, and then we go into the fall. The resting, the slowing down, the harvesting. And we always do a fall equinox ritual as well in the Astro family. So come hang out with us before then and you'll have access to it. And look how many shifts. We have so many shifts going on around that time. And the ecliptic energy is still playing out. I mean, we're going to feel that new moon eclipse for 2 weeks, all the way through to the end of the month. Now, on the 23rd, the sun is going to oppose Neptune. And so this essentially is going to highlight, the sun highlights things, what Neptune is trying to teach us currently. And so essentially this is going to be an energy. I'm going to make it, I kind of like it. Let's make it pink, because this is kind of the energy where it's like we take things off of pedestals. We remove the veil, we see it for what it is, but we also appreciate it for what it is. This could be a time where we have more potent dreams, where we come back to a new vision, a new goal, resetting our belief systems, seeing exactly what it is we want. And maybe we're crumbling facades that we've had. We're looking at things and revealing the truths. And it's like, okay, now that I know what it is, now I can build a new vision, new dream. Our old dreams were built on pipe dreams, right? And this is like, oh, okay, well, I guess the person never wants to get married. Could I be happy with them if we never got married? I guess this business just isn't meant to be. I guess I'll just build a new business with something that's more aligned and that feels more good, right? We let go to have new. And so it's like a new vision, a new dream, because everything started to crumble. And at that same time, the sun is then going to trine Uranus. And this is going to bring the insights, the understanding, the awareness. It's going to highlight Uranus, who's like, choose change. Come on, step into the future, choose change, be open. There's success in being unconventional. There's success in forging your own path. Like it's time for us to move into a new reality. So there's like that coaxing momentum forward. And then, of course, the sun is going to trine Pluto at that same time. And this is really, really potent to understand because now, as of the 23rd and the 24th, when these planets go exact, we are going to have a Grand Air Trine. Sun is in Libra, Uranus is in Gemini, Pluto is in Aquarius. Air, 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 the Grand Air Trine. So not only are all the air signs in your birth chart activated, those houses, those areas of life that all flow together, but air moves things. Air brings conversation, connection, like community. It networks, it draws people together. So it can be really, really great for empowering you, having really positive conversations, successful conversations. It is such a potent energy where it's like, ooh, let's go network. Let's go understand. Let's take a course. Like very, very cerebral energy. And then what's really interesting is we actually have our last astro weather event on this day for the month. It's Mars square Pluto, which, red all day. We don't even have to think twice about that. That is going to be when Mars is in Scorpio, his home sign, where he's very, very potent, very, very intense, and Pluto in Aquarius. And this can be very dangerous, destructive. We need to be careful. This could lead to adversaries, people fighting, people trying to get the one up on each other. There's passion, there's power struggles, there's control, there's manipulation, there's deceptive behavior, there's trust issues. I am just like, what the heck is this month going out with a bang here? It's going to be just very interesting. But I feel like at this point, all the planets have gotten into their position. And now it's like we need to implement. We're coming out of the eclipses. We're making sense of all of it. We have to kind of burn bridges or cut loose cords or accept that things need to be gone and that we don't want to circle back. We don't need to hold on. The memory is okay, but eventually the memories will fade. And it's kind of like this, okay, I'm going to make peace with this. I'm going to move into my next chapter. And so, unfortunately, sometimes with the astrology, we're forced into that if we don't want to. But if you're open and you're willing to be malleable and adaptable and flexible in your life, I think really good things can happen this month. So let's just look as a little comparative again back to August. Look in August, we have lots of orange, lots of reds, a couple lucky energies, and only like 3, 4 of the pinks. Look at this upcoming month. I'm really digging this. It's like green, 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 pink, pink. Like, love this. Little breaks in between. We end the month with a little bit of a break. Yes, we've got a couple hard aspects, but luckily they're all kind of condensed into the same amount of time. So I'm really, really, really liking this month, even though it may be a little uncomfortable. Again, you're on the roller coaster. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. You just got to throw your hands in the air. You got to make do with what you can. Like I said, some of the days you're going to definitely want to plan certain things. Other days you're going to want to avoid certain things. That's what I'm here for. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments below what your rising sign is. What is your primary planet up to this month? What area of your life is being heavily impacted? What do you got going on in September of 2025? Are there any days on your calendar after watching today's video that you are like, oh, nope, we are going to reschedule, we're going to cancel, or maybe something that inspired you to put on your calendar based on the astro weather events and riding that wave? So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'd be honored if you follow along, subscribe, come hang out with us in the Astro family on Telegram. We'd love to have you. You'll find all the information for that in the description box below. And make sure you subscribe and hang around because my main jam is the Relational Astrology Podcast, where I help you have better relationships by understanding your own birth chart and the birth chart of the people around you. My specialty really is helping you build harmonious connections and partnerships with all people in your life. I just love to do the astro weather every month for you here and talk about it in the Telegram. So if you're into relationships and astrology, definitely stick around. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Bye.